Hi, everybody. Hi, welcome. Come on in. Yes, come on into the yard. Sharon DeCosta, she is here, y'all. I am in the yard. It's been a moment, it's been a minute, but I am back. I am here, and welcome to my journey to building a better you. This wonderful platform, this podcast is designed for anyone that desires or aspires to be encouraged, motivated, empowered, informed. Yes, I designed this podcast for you. And I tell you, it has truly been a journey thus far. Again, my journey to building a better you is a podcast that is a spinoff from my nonprofit organization that I started back in 2002 called Building a Better You. For those that are joining me for the first time, I always like to go over and tell you who I am and let you know what platform you've joined for this day. So for those that may be joining me for the first time today, again, my name is Sharon DeCoster, your gracious host for this podcast entitled My Journey to Building a Better You. And every time I come into the yard, I'm either going to tackle one or two of the segments that I have designed for this show. The segments, they range from Ask Sharon. That's when someone will send me an email and ask me a question. And if I think it's a question that maybe others would be interested in hearing the question and even more interested in hearing my response, I'll bring that into the yard as well. Again, Ask Sharon being one of the segments. Another being... follow your dreams. For those entrepreneurs out there, for those that aspire to be an entrepreneur, or those that have their own entrepreneur or own business, if you would, that happens to be an entrepreneur. Excuse me, it's been a while, y'all, so work with me now, okay? So if you're an entrepreneur, or you aspire to become an entrepreneur, that segment is when I will feature or highlight an entrepreneur in the area or not in the area. That's the beauty of social media, right? Because you can meet and talk and interview anyone anywhere, really, right? But that is a segment where I will highlight someone that may have their own business. We've had guests, several guests over the duration of time that I've come into the yard. I did probably about maybe 12 or 13 of these shows, if you would. And that was like a pilot, if you would, because it's really like putting it out there, putting yourself out there. You really are in a vulnerable state because you really put yourself in a seat to where people are looking at you and forming their opinion of you and what have you. So this is a wonderful platform for those that have their own business, because I come in the yard and I will feature you. I will highlight you. My very first guest was actually a preteen. She was probably, I believe, maybe 10. I might be pushing her age up, and she had her own lip gloss line, and she was out of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm in North Carolina, right? So that's just an example of how I'm able to actually interview different entrepreneurs from wherever you happen to be. And that is what that segment is designed for. Or again, if you don't have your own business as of yet, and you just aspire to have your own business, then we will at times have different tips and information that will be shared during this platform. So yes, that is what is covered during the Follow Your Dreams segment. I'm an entrepreneur, so I am all for entrepreneurship. I'm all for building wealth at a young age, and especially for our young people. It's important that they shift their thinking, their mindset from working for someone else, making them rich or fulfilling that next person's dreams, and stepping out, with confidence that they can do the same thing too. So yes, that's what the Follow Your Dreams segment is all about. And then I have the What's Popping. That's the what's trending, another word for it. And that's where I will sometimes have like a What's Popping correspondent come into the yard, and they'll tell us about what's going on, what's trending. And that could be fashion, style. It could be what's going on in the community. That could be food. It can be, just a number of things, and that's usually what's covered during the What's Popping segment. And then that last segment that I have designed thus far for this show is the Walking Your Authority. For those that know me, and I've talked about it on numerous occasions, I am a PK. My mom was a pastor 30 plus years. And so ever since I was a little girl in the church, getting the word, know the word, it's kind of like, I know the word, y'all. I've heard so many sermons over my lifetime, if you would. But that segment is called What's Walking Your Authority, because that was one of the things my mom used to say to me before she passed. And again, if you've been following me or subscribed to this channel, you would know that I've shared even in my book, and I'll tell you about that in a minute, that my mom passed in 2017. But one of the things she used to always say to me is, Sharon Yvonne, you need to know your authority. You need to walk in the authority that God has given you. So that is what I will bring to the yard during that segment, and I will use some sort of biblical principle to contribute to that particular segment, if you would. And I usually will do that for the Ask Sharon as well. Again, that's just part of my DNA, y'all. Hey, it is what it is. So those are the 4 segments that I have during this platform. Again, it's new. I'm cultivating it. It's new to even come into the yard and just sit here and talk. It's just like, oh my gosh. But it has been a while since I joined you all, and I've been getting a few texts and like, hey, Miss Sharon, where you at? You doing okay? And I appreciate the calls. I appreciate the texts. And so I'll kind of catch you up with what's been going on with me as well. The last time I came into the yard was some weeks ago, and I actually was talking about being living virtuous in a carnal world. Carnal means like flesh, trying to live virtuously in a carnal world. And, virtue is basically just having a moral compass, knowing right from wrong and choosing, being confronted with right versus wrong and choosing right, or trying to live a life that will be pleasing, if you would, to God, that, put you in a position of being better or superior to anyone else or looking down on anyone else. Definitely, I'm not saying that. But again, living a life according to a moral compass, which is knowing right from wrong. It's kind of like when you know better, you do better. If you've never been taught and someone exposes or someone teaches you something, you know better, right? Or if you made a mistake and, you do something, you make a mistake and you learn something from that mistake. Now you know better, right? So again, living by our moral compass that distinguishes you from the others, because we are living again in a very carnal world, a very fleshy world, where everyone is, not everyone, but a lot of people are living according to their feelings. It doesn't feel right. My feelings are hurt. You offended me, you made me. No one can make you do anything, right? Anything you don't want to do. So you always have to have the control and the power, and put yourself in the position to control, your journey. God, of course, ultimately will order your steps to where you need to go and how you need to get there, and the route in which you will go in getting there. But you are well able and capable of making decisions that are morally sound, that will give you the benefit, the outcome in which you hope, you desire for, something good, something positive that will come out of, and sometimes some not so good things come out of even when you're doing the right thing. So I'll talk about that in just a moment as well. So yeah, Sharon DeCosta, she's in the yard, y'all. I'm super excited. And as you can see, I have on my HBCU t-shirt today, HBCU forever. I don't know if you can see forever up there. Yes. This was my homecoming weekend. I am an alumna of St. Augustine's University, founded in 1867, a private historical Black university. And I'm super proud to be an alumna of St. Augustine's University. So this was our homecoming this past weekend, or, we're in the weekend still. So our homecoming was this weekend. It was really different this year. Of course, it wasn't as many people as would normally come out, just because we are in the middle still of COVID, if you would. But, the campus looked wonderful. I went over on campus for a little bit on Friday, I guess it was Friday, and just seeing what they had going on out there and what have you. So I love the atmosphere. I love the energy of HBCUs, and I'm really proud to be an alumna of as well. So yes, this was the weekend for our homecoming. For those that may be joining me for the first time, again, welcome. Thank you so much. Again, I have given you some of the segments that are covered during this platform, this podcast. And of course, if you're joining me or joining me, you subscribed and you know that I'm here again after a couple of weeks. Hello. Thank you for joining me again. You have to subscribe so you know when I come into the yard. Like I said, the last time I was in, it's been some weeks. And the last time I came in, I was talking about, again, living virtuous in a carnal world. And so I said some things. I didn't say it from a place of judgment, but I gave some descriptives of different type of women. I've been doing this program. Actually, let me take a step back. My Journey to Building a Better You is the podcast. This is a podcast that's a spinoff from my nonprofit organization that I founded back in 2002 called Building a Better You. What I do is use fashion as a platform to explore different standards of beauty, promote a healthy body image, improve our girls' self-esteem, build character, confidence, leadership skills. And so the program started in 2002. And then this past spring, because we're in 2021, I launched my first memoir. I am an author. I actually contributed to another book, The Mental Cost of Entrepreneurship, some years ago, a couple of years ago. But this is the first time that I've actually written an entire book that has my name on the cover solely. Yes. And I just, share a little bit of my ins and outs of pursuing a program for girls, and I give a little bit of my upbringing so you can understand a little bit of my position as I move forward. And then I definitely share some of the triumphs, some of the setbacks, some of the fears, some of the disappointments along the way to building a better you. So yes, you have to check out the memoir. You can actually purchase it on my website, and I'll put that information across the screen in a moment. And that's actually being sold on my life skills, my life coaching website, which actually is titled My Journey to Building a Better You. And so you can actually purchase the book on the site, or you can go to Amazon.com. Again, My Journey to Building a Better You. And actually, if I can put my hand on the cover, I'll share it with you as well. You can see the cover as well in just a moment. So so we have the memoir that I launched this past spring. And then we had the workbooks. I'm super excited about the workbooks, y'all. The workbooks are basically updated content of what I offer. I offer 4 development workshop series, if you would. I work with girls aged between 12 to 21. From all walks of life. So you don't have to have or live in a particular zip code in order to participate in the program. You don't have to be a certain color, race, gender, it's for girls, of course, but, you don't have to be a particular ethnicity to participate in the program. It's a multicultural program. I believe that, as women, as young women, we have to know how to work with one another, how to communicate with one another. Yeah, there may be some topics that may be a little bit more sensitive than others, if you would, but it's still important that our young girls, all girls, know how to interact and embrace each other's differences. So it's a multicultural program, again, 12 to 21, 4 development workshop series. The topics range anywhere from self-esteem, of course, confidence, values. A lot of times you ask girls, what do you value? Sometimes they'll say, I don't know. And then, it's kind of like, okay, if you're not clear on what you value, then, you shouldn't be getting involved with, all these different relationships, because a lot of times if you're not clear on your values, you can very well pick up someone else's values that may be important to them. But because you're not clear on yours, you kind of adopt their value system. And before you know it, you're somewhere that you're like, how did I get here? So, values, talking about values, the importance of defining what your values are, goal setting, everyone has to set goals, be it short-term goals or long-term goals, the benefits of setting goals. Oh my gosh, procrastination. Oh, I was so guilty of procrastination for years. That was like a spirit that just rode my coattail for years. You know what I mean? How to deal with procrastination. Let's see, communication skills, decision-making skills, peer pressure. Oh my gosh, the magnitude of peer pressure that our young people are faced with on a daily basis. Oh my gosh, let's see, body image, personal hygiene, skin, hair, wardrobe, dress your body like you respect your body, There's so many topics. I'm just naming just surface topics for this program, but there's so many topics that are covered in these workbooks. The workbooks are phenomenal, but what makes them even more special to me is that some of the girls that have gone through the program, and these are real girls, y'all, that have gone through the program when they were like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 that are now adult women, some, in college, out of college, some working, some have their own family that have contributed content to these workbooks. So they share not only maybe what was going on with them at the time of starting the program, but what they got out of the program, what they actually got from the program. And then they're offering words of encouragement. They're offering tips and just words of guidance to the next young girl coming up. And that's ultimately what it's about, because when you can be built up and lift up, especially when someone else has helped to pour into you, then you are charged to go out and be a blessing and build the next young lady up or the next person up and plant a seed in their lives as a seed has been planted in your life, So that's the beauty of these workbooks. There's 4 development workbooks that you can also check out as well. The program is phenomenal because, one of the unique components of Building a Better You is that it can actually be catered to fit the need. So in partnering with several agencies throughout the year, over the years, if you would, I've been able to cater topics to fit the need of the audience. Or again, if there's just a parent, and I get referrals from all over. So the referral source doesn't have to come from one particular location or source, if you would. I've worked with girls that were referred, of course, from the school system, churches, other organizations, the police department, if you would. Parents, if you would, So again, it's a phenomenal program. I'm not saying it just because it's my program, but I've seen it work. I've seen how it's been a blessing to other girls, other young women. And what I do, like I said, fashion is one of the core principles where I use fashion as that platform to have those discussions, some really tough discussions over the years. So, and of course, with, COVID going on, you really had to be creative with how you were able to reach, our young people. So, virtual learning is where it's at right now. Of course, in person, every now and again, but, virtually it can be done. In person, it can be done. You just have to be wise in how you move, how you deal, wear your mask, and just, just know that, this too shall pass, right? It will eventually pass. So yeah, Sharon DeCosta, she's in the yard. So if you're joining me for the first time, welcome. If you have come back and joined me because you subscribed and you know that Sharon DeCosta, who I am, and a little bit about, what I do on this platform, this show, then hello. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. As I told you, HBCU, this was my homecoming weekend. I am an alumna of St. Augustine's University. St. Augustine's University was founded in 1867, a privately historical Black university. And I just love it, y'all. I love it. I love it. I love it. So yes, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to take a quick break. I'm not going to be here long, definitely today, but I did want to at least pop in. I did get an email or two in particular that was kind of piggy. Actually, I got more than one or two. I got quite a few emails that were challenging and questioning some of what I had to say the last time I was in the yard. And so I said, okay, well, I can bring some of that to this discussion. I'm all for it, right? Because this is not about judgment, y'all. This is about, again, coming together, empowering, having discussion, bringing different guests on. Sometimes I'll bring my girls from the program on, the co-host with me, or either be a correspondent for a particular segment, if you would. So yeah, it's just a good thing. I believe that, anytime you can provoke a question or something to come back around, then you did a good job, because that means someone is thinking, they're paying attention to what you're saying. And again, this isn't about sitting in a judgment seat, but this is really about, again, my experiences that I have, had over the years and having those discussions. And again, you send me an email, I'll respond to the email, but if it's something that needs to be addressed during this platform, I'll do just that. So yeah, sit tight, hold tight. I'm not going to be here long. Grab a beverage, grab a snack, let someone know Sharon DeCosta's in the yard, y'all. And again, I will not be in here long, so stick and stay. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. I'll be right back with you. Hi, everybody. Yes, Sharon DeCoster. I am back. I am in the yard today, y'all, and welcome to my journey to building a better you. Now, as I mentioned to you, the last time I was in the yard, I was talking about living virtuous in a carnal world. Carnal being fleshy. Fleshy. When you're fleshy, you go by feelings. You go by a lot of what you see on the surface, outward appearance. Aesthetics, if you would. And trying to live virtuous in that kind of world can be very challenging. Which that's the world that we live in. Virtuous basically is just having a moral compass, knowing right from wrong, living by a moral compass of right versus wrong. Like you know the right thing to do and you do it, even if you have to stand by yourself, even if you're being judged for you standing in your conviction of, hey, this is my opinion about this. This is what my value system is about. Just as my value system, I'm bringing it to the forefront, and I decide and I am determined to live virtuously again in a world that says that you should move by your feelings. And people do it, so can't say we can't. We should not live by feelings, because as we all know, feelings change, right? You could feel one way one day and a completely opposite way on a different day. And a lot of times people make permanent decisions in very temporary circumstances, very temporary situations. So you can't live by your feelings. You have to, again, bring your moral compass to the table and say, hey, what's right? Sometimes things happen that make you want to just lash out, or make you want to respond in a way that will be so contrary to who you are as a person, or who you even desire to be at that present time. But that's why we have to take control over our feelings and bring the virtuous you to the table. And it's a process to be virtuous, if you would. The Bible talks about, who can find a virtuous woman. And I'll speak on a woman again. I'm a woman. I'm not here to bash, or, I'm a woman. I'm a female. I made mistakes over the years, but I've also learned from my mistakes. I have a lot more learning to do, but it's kind of like, the older people saying, when you know better, you do better. If you've never been taught, then you just don't know. But if you've been taught, or you went through something where a lesson was in it for you to learn, then you have to apply it and take that. It's kind of like life is like school days. It will repeat a lesson over and over again until it's learned. So when you find yourself going through a very similar situation, just at a different phase of life, that means that, God is taking you back through it because you haven't learned the lesson in that particular situation the first time. Or better yet, sometimes it could be just being a test rather, to see how you're going to respond, how you're going to react. Yes, God will test us. He will take us through tests before he takes us to the next level in life, or the next blessing in life, or the next season in life. So, stay open, and strive for that life that you can feel good about who you are as a woman. Hold your head up high. The question that I had on the table the last time I came into the yard was from a young lady that I had the pleasure of working with, but she was getting ready to go back to college, and she was questioning herself, looking at herself in a negative manner, because she was still a virgin in college, and she felt kind of left out of discussions that some of her peers were having, because they were already sexually active, if you would. So that was what brought the discussion to the table, as far as living virtuous in a carnal world, So I talked about like 7 types of women. I got emails about that, but there was like the confused woman, the broken woman, the angry woman, the docile woman, the happy, content woman, the materialistic woman. And I feel like and then there was the virtuous, So there were, several different descriptors that I had given, not based off of no one particular person, but keep it in mind, this program, Building a Better You, started in 2002, right? It's 2021. So I work with all types of girls from all walks of life over the years, So basing it off of some of my personal experiences with some of the young people that I've worked with over the years. And then just today as a woman, I'm a certified life coach. I'm a certified mindfulness instructor. I work with older women as well. I have the capabilities and ability to work with older women as well that still struggle with their self-esteem, that struggle with their identity. So, I made no secret. I share with you that I've been a single woman for years, celibate for years, my choice, for years. And, I think it's important to understand that, when you take that time to just get to know who you are as a woman, a woman or male or a female, but I'm speaking from the woman. Again, my program focuses on young women. So that's why I'm talking about women, but when you take the time to kind of spend time to yourself, to get to know yourself independent of others' opinion, it positions you to be more in tune, to have a discernment about, life, to have a discernment about the environments that you're in, to have a discernment about the people that you come across or come in paths who you cross with, if you would, And so a lot of my words are, when I speak, even in my book, it is from personal experience. But again, I speak strongly about it, a lot of things as well, because again, I've had that time to be to myself, to where I am in tune, I am aware, and I'm very keen in tune to others, their feelings. I'm really mindful of other people's feelings. And I try to be an uplifter, an encourager. I believe that's one of the things that we're charged to do. When God pulls you out of situations and He, you're covered and you come on out. I think we are charged to then reach back. It's kind of like the painting. I don't know who the artist is, but I'm sure someone has seen this painting where you have just the arm. So it's like the forearm down, reaching. The person is up and they're reaching down, and the person arm is coming up trying to grab their hand. So it's kind of like, yes, I'm here, but I'm reaching back to help pull you up as well, and I'm not saying that I'm here like I'm better than, but I've been pulled out, so now I'm charged to now reach back and be a blessing and help pull somebody else out. So I do believe that that's what the journey, one of the purposes of life is, that you go through things. You don't go through things to kill you or to destroy you, but you go through things to learn from them and hopefully be a blessing to someone else. So that's my position, y'all. That's it. It's all in love, And so one of the emails that I got this week was asking about, how do I bounce back from a broken heart? And I was like, wow, okay, so that question is what made me come into the yard today, y'all. So I'm going to give you a little bit, the question was just real simple, it was to the point. How do you bounce back from a broken heart? If you live long enough, you would have had your heart broken at some point in time in life, right? And even if you're a young adult, some young adults have had their hearts broken as well. A lot of times, we have, as young people, we have, these little crushes, and when the crushes don't work out, oh, I'm heartbroken. Oh, she broke my heart. He broke my heart. You got all these different things going on, right? But the question was very clear. It was really direct to the point. How do you bounce back from a broken heart? So I really want to tie the question into one of the descriptives of women that I talked about when I was in the yard the last time, when I said there's that broken woman. And that's that woman who hasn't taken the time to heal, that continues to pile on more and more onto their palate, onto their being, into their spirit, without taking the time to heal. There's no way that we will go through life, y'all, and not have disappointments. God never promised that there will not be disappointing times in our life, but what He did promise is that He will be with us during those disappointing times. There is a scripture, and I got to find it, so bear with me. Like I said, it's been a while since I've been in the yard, so bear with me, okay? But there's a scripture that says in Psalms 147:3 that says, or matter of fact, let me take it a step back. Psalm 34:18-19, that says, the Lord is near to the brokenhearted, and He saves the crushed spirit. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him or her out of them all. So the Lord is near. Starts out saying, Psalms 34:18, the Lord is near to the brokenhearted, and He saves the crushed in spirit. So what that tells me is that, yes, there will be times where you will have disappointments, you will have your heart broken, you will have your spirit crushed, but He promises that He is near. because when you're weak, he's made strong. So when you feel like you can't go or move forward or take any more of it, just know that God is close by. So with the broken woman that I talked about last time I was in the yard, I was very, very, very specific in saying that, this is the type of woman that does not take the time to heal from her past hurts. You cannot go through, as women, and as we're all striving to be virtuous, at some point in time, even if you're not there, I'm not there either. I'm not perfect. I'm not over here pretending to have the answers or have it all together, but I'm striving to be, and that's really what it's about, that you have to strive, you have to push past, push forward, push on. But, whenever you find yourself hurt, broken from maybe a relationship that didn't work out, and brokenheartedness doesn't necessarily have to come from a relationship. You can be brokenhearted behind maybe the behavior of a family member, the behavior of a child, brokenhearted because maybe you got fired from your job, or, you lost your job or laid off from your job, brokenhearted because maybe, a loved one passed on. There's so many factors that can contribute to a person being brokenhearted. But the key to it, one of the keys to it all, y'all, aside, and the most important one is, of course, God, turning to him to pray and prayer, but it's taking the time to step back so you can heal. You cannot repair a broken heart by getting involved in another relationship immediately. You have to have time to heal. You have to have time to take off those layers of what happened that caused maybe the relationship to not go the way you wanted to go, or what happened on the job, to just reflect, or the child is acting out, or something that broke your heart, whatever it is. It's not about playing the blame game, but it's really about taking the time to heal. I speak on relationships when I say that, because what I've seen over the years, and not all, let's be clear, right? But I've seen over the years that a lot of times people that are in these relationships, these volatile relationships, they continue to add the layers of hurt or mask the layers of hurt by getting involved with another relationship. And all you do, a lot of times what you see is a repeated cycle. The grass may look greener on the other side, but if you don't take the time to clean the lenses of what was not so good in that previous relationship, and then you just jump right into another relationship, then you're just compiling more brokenness on top of more brokenness. You have to understand that, when we came into this world, we came in by ourselves. And when we leave this world, we're going to leave by ourselves. So you have to be able to have and be okay with company being by yourself. I'm not saying forever, because there are people that have families and so forth, but even in having a family, even in being in a relationship, you still have to have like your independent time from that person so that you can find out, some of the things that you like, or maybe even just get still enough to where maybe God can have a conversation with you without all the distractions, if you would, heading towards being a virtuous person is taking the time to collect all those broken pieces and put them back together again before you decide to get back involved in another relationship. Now, let me tell you one of the reasons why it took me a moment to come into the yard since the last time. It's funny because ever since, and I say it and I feel it more so, and I'm clear on it. And because I've had that time, I have that discernment enough to know, things about myself, and when something is happening, whether a new season of, God taking me to the next season or the next, chapter in my life, or just, what have you. But ever since I, launched this memoir, and I did this podcast, it seemed like things were just happening left and right. Distractions. There was I had a hit and run, y'all. I had somebody that actually hit my vehicle with me being in the vehicle, right? And drove up on me and said, "Hey, are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I am. My car's not," and they took off. And I was like, I know this man did not just drive off. So here I am coming up behind him because I said, no, that devil's a lie. We gonna have to take the license tag or something. I'm not getting ready to be stuck with this bill. And I did. And so shortly after that, we got past that. But then the frustrating part about that was that the other person involved in that was not responding to the calls that my insurance company was making. So that was frustrating to me. And I recognize it as frustrating, but I also recognize it as a distraction. So I said, okay, we're going to just keep going. Right. And then shortly after that, I will say, there was a big old plastic trash can. For those of you that are homeowners, you know how you put your trash can at the ends of the driveway to let them come and dump your trash or what have you. That was in the middle of the road. And the car in front of me swerved to not hit it, but it blew back on my vehicle and knocked my whole side out. And I said, well, I will be doggone, right? So that was another distraction, and it was frustrating. And I said, oh my goodness. So now you have all these little distractions going on around me. So for me, I'm like, okay, it seemed like the more I talk about God, it seemed like that little fire was being turned up a notch, because I guess, it's like, oh, you want to talk about God? Okay, let's just see how much you want to talk about him, And then, y'all, the most recent thing that happened that was completely a side swipe. It was a body blow. It was my heart was my dog died, y'all. And for those of you that know me, I had the cutest little doggy named Lovely, and she was that and some. And that broke my heart because I didn't see it coming, number one, but then number two, it just caused me to close my mouth for a little bit, because I said, well, wait a minute now. Okay, now that might seem like minute to someone, especially if you're not an animal lover, and that's okay too. Hey, I can only speak my truth right now, but that bothered me. It bothered my spirit, and it broke my heart in the process. And so when I seen the question come across that said, how do you come back from a broken heart? I had to stop. I had to pray about that question, because I said, you know what, Sharon? You can't stop talking, you can't stop coming in this yard and letting people know that God is real, that he's a heart fixer, a mind regulator, that he's able to do exceedingly and abundantly more than I could ever ask or imagine. You have to come out and you have to tell people that though, there's some things happening that I don't particularly care for, I don't particularly like, that they're distractions, it's causing frustration, it's causing, my heart to break, it's causing me to question. I can't get to that space where I don't first off silence my head, my mind, and pray, get on my knees and pray and ask God for direction, ask him to just to cover me, because, like I said, when you're weak, that's when he's made strong. That's when, he can then show his strength through you when you don't feel like it. Again, we live in a carnal world. Carnal world means we go by feelings. A lot of times we go by feelings. Well, I don't feel like it. I don't feel like talking about. I don't feel like uplifting. But, we're charged to still do it in spite of. So that was a sacrifice that I had to suck up and say, you know what, there's a blessing on the other side of it. And the closer I get to it, because in all of that distraction, God positioned me for another wonderful opportunity for my nonprofit organization, right? And so the closer and the more I got to this blessing, it was the more things that started happening. And I said, wow, that's it, y'all. And, it's not, rocket science. It's not anything new, as, my mother used to say, nothing new under the sun. But my point in sharing that is that things are going to happen that you don't like. Things are going to happen that's going to throw you off. Things are going to happen that's going to make you question. And that's okay, because you're human. We're human. You have a right. I think that when you have a relationship with God, you can be just as honest with him and talk to him like I'm sitting here talking to you, and telling you how I feel. That's a very vulnerable place to be in. But I say that because even though these things are happening around me and it seems like they're happening to me, it doesn't negate the fact that God is still good, that God is still able, that he said that I will never leave you. Because remember, I said in Psalms 34, 18, 19, he says that he is near to the brokenhearted and near to those crushed in spirit. So, young lady, whoever emailed me, whomever, could be a young male. I say young lady, they signed it anonymously, anonymous, it's okay, take the time to still your mind, still yourself, turn to God, turn to prayer, turn to him to make things right for you, and not get in your feelings and try to turn to things that have no substance to help you, because you can't drink it away, you can't smoke it away, you can't sex it away, you can't act crazy it away, because when all of those feelings subside, right, you're still dealing with that same problem. Right. So you have to take the time to heal. You have to take the time to have those layers removed. Like I said, and having worked with young women for so many years, that's what I'm seeing, I'm hearing, somebody gets out of relationship in March. Oh, they meet the person of their dream in April, and we're now going to move in together in June. Yeah, that's a setup. That's the setup, because now you're seeking fulfillment and wholeness from something superficial. You cannot, a person it shouldn't be a thing of a person making you happy. Relationships are not designed to make you happy. It's not anyone's responsibility to make you happy, right? A relationship is designed to complement. I talked about that when I first started coming into the yard. It's just kind of like me having on some earrings or bracelet or what have you. My earrings don't make my HBCU t-shirt, right? My earrings don't make it, right? But it just complements it. And that's really what relationships are designed for. Brokenness is basically being, in two. That means it's not whole, it's not complete, right? Order for you, young female, young girl that's starting in middle school, high school, college, woman that's, out of college working, or maybe have a family, have children, you have to take the time to know who you are, independent of even your own children. Your worth cannot be caught up in things or people. So take the time to know who you are. Take the time to, get your mind, take the time to let God heal those layers, remove those layers, so that you're not, it's kind of like the Erykah Badu song, like Bag Lady, like you during, I believe it was during one of the segments here, we might have had a side conversation about the song Bag Lady, where you're just, you're carrying all these, the weights of life, somebody didn't do you right, you're in your feelings, somebody left you, somebody broke up with you, somebody talked about you, oh, somebody did this, all these different things. If somebody did, no one can do anything that you don't allow. That's giving too much of power away to the next individual, right? So take the time to let God heal your heart. Take the time to heal, period, so that you can then move forward. And I'm not trying to tell you a date or a time or when it should take place, but you can then move forward and walk in the newness and the fullness of life without all the extra. But you have to take the time to heal. You have to take the time to get by yourself. You have to take the time to figure it out, and let God help you. Let him help you take you to that next level. Again, in Psalms 147:3, he heals the brokenhearted and binds up the wounds. It's God that does that, right? It's God that does that, y'all. All right, y'all. I just had to get that off my chest. Yes, I shared that. So, because I'm getting ready to wrap. Sharon DeCosta's in the yard, y'all. I told you I wasn't going to be here long, but definitely stick and stay. I'll be right back to wrap up today's podcast. Thank you for joining me. I'll be right back. Hi, y'all. Yes, Sharon DeCosta. She is in the yard. I am back. I am back. I told you I wasn't going to be in here long. I'm getting ready to wrap, y'all. But, as I did tell you, I shared with you a few of the distractions, a few of the things that has been going on with me personally that has probably stopped me from coming into the yard for a few weeks. And the last being the one that probably it broke my heart the most. But I said, you know what, God, I'm going to keep going because that's what you call for us to do. You didn't promise that there would not be hard times, there would not be setbacks, there would not be things and situations that would not break our heart, but his word does say that even when you're brokenhearted and crushed in spirit, that he's near, he's closer than ever, because we're like the apple of his eye. That's my little thing, is like the apple of God's eye, and you can't get to the eye. It's kind of like if somebody tries to poke something in your eye, what will protect that eye, that pupil, is the actual eyelid. Your eye will close. So that's kind of how I see God. It's kind of like, somebody gets close and they try to cause harm or cause just some sort of danger to me, that I'm covered, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, like I said, he didn't say that every day would be sunshine, but he did promise that he would not leave us. So I talked about, the question that came across for the Ask Sharon is, how do you come back from a broken heart? And I thought this was a fitting time to actually just share a little bit of what I thought would be one of the ways of coming back. And that is, again, just getting still with yourself, with God, taking the time to heal. Let him heal you. Let him, point out some things about yourself that he wants to work on you, or work within you, work out of you. It's about, our character. You have to keep in mind that God is just, it's part of his character. That's actually one of the word just, justice is one of the heavenly virtues that are mentioned in the Bible. And so I took the moment to actually just look up the word justice, and it's basically to make right, to set straight. And God promises that if we, turn to him, and not to man to fix it, but to him, for him to fix it, because he's all knowing, he's all powerful, he's sovereign, right? That he will make it right. There's a scripture where it says, vengeance is mine. Vengeance isn't revenge. If a person hurts you, it's not about, going low. When you find somebody trying to get revenge, that's low life behavior. You know what I mean? Like, you have to let God fight those battles for you that you don't have the strength to fight for yourself. So God is just, he's a just God. He makes right. He sets straight. And then Psalm 89:14, that's just me making a little note, that righteousness and justice are the foundation of his throne. Steadfast love and faithfulness go before us. So let him be the one to make things right for you. Young lady that sent me the email, like I said, male or female, and this can apply for anyone that's watching. If you live long enough, there's no way around having your heart broken, whether it's broken over, a relationship, broken over, again, something that was done that you didn't expect, that you didn't foresee, or just see it happening. And it's okay to get in your feelings at that present time, because we're human. We're it's okay to be hurt. It's okay to even be offended by it, but you don't let it then dictate your behavior to where you're acting out and you're doing something that goes against your moral compass. And again, virtuous is about living by a moral compass, right versus wrong. So let him be the one to pay back, or to make straight, because we can't pay anybody back any better than God. You know what I mean? So a lot of times we want to get people told or get people straight that wrong us or offend us. But again, it's not about trying to have revenge. Step back, silence your mind. Don't turn to things to fulfill or fill emptiness that only God can fill. And so, yes, I say, if it was a relationship that caused you to be heartbroken, whoever emailed me, then take the time to heal from that. Take the time to discover some new likes and dislikes about yourself, and things that you may need to change about yourself. Maybe take the time to figure out, what part did you play in a breakup? Because a lot of times it's always quick to point fingers at the next person, want to stop and look at the part that we played and contributed to the something going sour, it's okay to ask questions, why God, why did this happen? He can handle those type of questions and still yourself long enough to hear the answer, So yes, hey, it's all part of the journey. This is why this platform, My Journey to Building a Better You, it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. Change is not an event. Change doesn't just happen overnight. Change is a process, So, take the time. Again, one of the heavenly virtues I mentioned was justice, and that's again to make right. And then the other one, I mentioned it, I talked about it the last time, but I think it's very fitting to bring it back to the discussion again today, and that's fortitude, courage, and pain. Again, they're going to be, the rain falls on the just and the unjust. There's nobody that is exempt from disappointments in life. I looked at like I said, the things that were happening over the past few weeks, and I was like, what in the world? That devil is a lie. He's coming for the wrong one here, But I said, what, Sharon, once I got out of my feelings, again, carnal feelings, right? Once I got out of them, I came to myself and I said, you know what? But it doesn't negate the fact that God is good. It doesn't negate the fact that he's able to turn a situation around. And he did too, by the way, y'all. He turned that thing around sweet and pretty. And yes, the person that was responsible for that hit and run, they responded and they took responsibility for it. The vehicle, the how do you say that? The can in the middle of the road, I only ended up having to pay $100, and I got like my whole front end fixed. Losing my dog, I said, well, wow, I don't even know what to say about that one, because again, she was so young and cute and sweet. I love a doggy, But I said that, Lord, I thank you for the time that that she was a blessing to me. My dad was really attached to her, and so I thank you for just that joy that she brought for that season. So for me now, it's about positioning myself for what's next, because God will never take away something and not replace it or her with something else. But when I say he will not replace, he will not replace, you still have to take the time to be still and stop trying to move in your own strength and your own might and trying to make things happen by your own, abilities, So sometimes we just, he does things to get our attention. And again, sometimes, he allows things to happen, not him doing it, but he allows it to happen so that maybe there's some things within ourselves that can kind of be pressed out of us. It's kind of like a pressing. It's kind of like a purging, when you're going to the next level, or when you're going to where he's calling for you to go. Sometimes we have to purge ourselves of things that really serve us no purpose for that next season, and then just trust that he will send, just new joy, joy that, is just unexplainable. And before you know it, you're not even thinking about the things that caused you some of that heartbreak, or some of you're not thinking about them because it may be in the back of your mind, but it's just the season and the cycle of life, y'all, and no one's exempt. We all have to go through it. So, yeah. So my words, again, not to judge, or to call out women in that sense. Again, I'm a woman. I'm all for supporting and uplifting women, but, sometimes we just have to be truthful with ourselves. What is it about you that you need to change? What is it about you that you need to work on? And hey, I have no heaven or hell to put anybody in, so it's not for me to judge anybody's life, for that matter. I'm just bringing something to the forefront, the attention. And I will say that if it happened to offend anyone, then maybe those were the things that maybe needed to be the thing that offends you, that you stop and you say, hey, is she talking to me? Or maybe is there something about myself that I need to check? And it's okay, again, my journey to building a better you. It's a journey. It's a process, y'all. It's not an event. All right. So yes, that's it. That's all I got for today. I just wanted to come into the yard and speak that. Again, God is just, as part of his character, and his ultimate goal is to make us like him, in his image, So yes. There it is. I said it. Sharon DeCosta. She was in the yard, y'all. Yes, I did it. I did it. And I had to be honest with you. I didn't think I would feel like doing it and doing it with a smile on my face. But, look at God. He makes things right all in his time, right? So yes, I'm going to wrap it up, y'all. I'm just going to take one more quick break. I'll be right back with you. But definitely let somebody know Sharon DeCosta was in the yard today. Stick your stay, subscribe, like, share. Let them know. Yes, she was here. I came in and I'm about to wrap it up. So I'll be right back. Thank you so much for joining me. So stay tuned. Don't leave just yet. Thank you so much. I'll be right back with you, though. Hi, y'all. Sharon DeCosta. I am back. Well, yes, I am here, y'all. I'm going to wrap for today. I just came in the yard. I wanted to say hi, let you know I am still here. Thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you subscribe. You let someone know that Sharon DeCosta was in the yard today. Yes, she was wearing her HBCU forever t-shirt. As well. Yes, indeed, y'all. So yes, I always try to close with the walk in the authority. As I mentioned to you, that was one of the things my mom used to say pretty faithfully, pretty righteously. Sharon Yvonne, you have to learn the authority that you have been given. So I will close this out. And it's funny because I thought about this, with the most recent heartbreak distraction, if you would. I always try to close out with just a word in Isaiah 54:17. It says, no weapon formed against us shall prosper. And then God goes on to say, and every tongue that rises up against us, he will condemn. The part that came to mind where it says, no weapon formed shall prosper. And I'm like, gosh, I felt like there was a weapon formed and I felt like something came of the weapon. But then I had to come to my senses once again, because God, again, reminding us, going back to that initial scripture I mentioned in Psalms, reminding us that God is near to the brokenhearted. So what I had to remind myself is that though I'm going through something, that he is close by and that he's still watching me and he's watching how I respond in this. And I'm just a firm believer that, God will have the final say in any and everything. And though there will be losses that we will experience in life, that he does promise that things will be all right on the other side if we just push through, we pass on through. And that was the word I think I mentioned with being fortitude and being able to be resilient in adversity and being able to bounce back. Again, you might not feel like it in that present time, but if you encourage yourself long enough, if you get still long enough, and I will also say, have company, friendships around you that can encourage you. A lot of times one of our downfalls is that we surround ourselves, or we have people, the wrong people, speaking into our lives. And so sometimes you have to reevaluate the company that you keep and the people that you allow to speak into your life, and the people that you share some of your disappointments and the things that are troublesome to you. You have to be mindful of who you're sharing this with, because everybody doesn't have the right to speak into your life. Everybody doesn't even deserve to have front row in your life. Sometimes you have to reevaluate those circles. So, but God does say, and I'll reiterate, he says that he is close to the brokenhearted and those that are crushed in spirit. He saves. Now, matter of fact, it didn't just say that he's near to the broken heart, but he saves the crushed in spirit. So yes, though you may be going through something, that young lady that is dealing with brokenheartedness, those that are dealing with disappointments, just know that God knows the way that you go, and don't turn to man, because man is fickle. Man will, and when I say not like a man, but like human nature is fickle, shady. One minute they're full, cheering you on, and then the next minute they turn on you like a snake, if you would. So turn to that which is consistent, that is true, that which will never disappoint you. And so I'm excited for what God is about to do, because I do believe that there is a blessing on the other side. And though there has been some disappointments, like I'm again broken heart and all, it's gonna be all right. On the other side, it's going to be all right, y'all. Just trust it. Hey, trust it's going to be all right. So yes, thank you again for joining me. Walk in the authority that you have been given this week. Hold your head up for those disappointments or those things that come up against you. Just know that there again, I'll say, God that sits high, looks low, and he knows the way that you go. And again, sometimes he's just going to test to see how you're going to respond or react, and also recognize distractions when they come. Because again, a lot of times things happen to close your mouth, to distract you, to discourage you, to make you question that if that what you're believing for is really going to happen. So stay true to what is true to you, and just trust the process. Because again, my journey to building a better you, the journey to building a better you, is a process. Okay, not an event. Remember that this week. Okay, so if you fall short, don't worry about it. Brush yourself off, pick yourself up, and keep on going. Keep on trucking. For those that may be in school and have some really challenging classes or subjects, or assignments, seem like the professor or the teacher is piling them on thick for you, just know that you will get through it as well. For those that have had that heart broken because somebody left, or because somebody died, or something didn't work out the way that you expected to, just know that there's still a blessing on the other side of it, if you just have the fortitude and trust that God is a just God. It's his character to make things right, to set things right in your life. So yes, that's it. Sharon DeCoster, I said it. I came into the yard. I did it. Thank you so much for joining me. Stay tuned. I'll be back. I have a wonderful agenda plan for this platform. So you have to stick and stay. You have to subscribe and let someone know. Share. Yeah, share. Let them know Sharon DeCoster was in the yard today, y'all. So thank you once again for joining me. Have a wonderful week. Walk in the authority that you've been given. And we'll see you the next time. Thank you again for joining me, Sharon DeCoster. She was in the yard. Thank you so much. Have a good week. See you soon.